5 healthy foods that secretly harm people with diabetes. There is a truth that many people with diabetes often discover too late. Not every food that looks healthy is truly safe for them. Some foods carry the label of natural, whole grain, or low fat. They are marketed as smart choices and recommended by friends, wellness coaches, or even magazines. Yet, in reality, these very foods can act like silent saboteurs, spiking blood sugar, making insulin less effective, and gradually leading to fatigue, weight fluctuations, and dangerous complications. I have seen this pattern repeatedly. Patients come in confused and discouraged. They tell me they gave up soda, candy, and fried snacks. They switched to fruit juice, whole wheat bread, dried fruits, honey in their tea, and low-fat yogurt after dinner. But instead of feeling better, their blood sugar readings kept rising, and their HbA1c crept higher. Some developed nerve pain in their feet, others had blurry vision, and many felt a constant lack of energy. The mistake was not their effort, but their misunderstanding of how certain healthy foods actually affect blood sugar. Today we will uncover 5 foods that many people believe to be beneficial, but which in reality can be harmful for diabetes management. Along the way, I will also explain why they cause problems, share examples of patients who struggled with them, and suggest safer alternatives. 1. Fruit juice. Sweet on the tongue but dangerous in the bloodstream. Fruit is naturally rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, but once you remove the pulp and fiber, what you are left with in juice is essentially sugar water with a few nutrients. A single glass of orange juice can contain 20 to 25 grams of sugar, equal to about 6 teaspoons. Packaged juice is often even worse, with added sugar to improve taste and extend shelf life. The fiber in whole fruit plays an important role. It slows down digestion, prevents rapid absorption of glucose, and helps people feel full. When that fiber is stripped away, the sugar from juice enters the bloodstream almost immediately. This can cause sudden spikes in blood glucose and large swings throughout the day. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported in 2021 that frequent fruit juice consumption is associated with a higher risk of insulin resistance and weight gain. Both of these factors are dangerous for people living with type 2 diabetes. One of my patients, a 55-year-old woman, proudly told me she had given up coffee in the morning and replaced it with fresh apple juice. She thought she was doing something good, but after 3 months, her HbA1c climbed from 6.8% to 7.5%. She was puzzled because she was also exercising daily when I asked her to stop juicing and return to eating whole apples, limiting herself to 1 small portion a day. Her HbA1c dropped back into a safer range within 2 months. For people with diabetes, eating whole fruit is always the safer choice. Apples, pears, grapefruit, strawberries, and blueberries provide fiber and nutrients without overwhelming the body with sugar all at once. If someone insists on drinking juice, it should be heavily diluted with water, served in a very small glass, and never consumed on an empty stomach. 2. Whole wheat bread. Healthier than white bread, but still a trap. Many people proudly trade white bread for whole wheat bread. They believe they have made a smart, healthy swap. It is true that whole wheat bread contains more vitamins, minerals, and fiber than white bread. But the difference is not as big as people think, especially when it comes to blood sugar. The glycemic index of whole wheat bread is still high, typically around 65 to 70. This means that within 1 to 2 hours of eating, blood glucose levels can rise sharply almost as quickly as with white bread. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2018 compared the two directly. Researchers found that the post-meal blood sugar response was nearly the same whether patients ate white bread or whole wheat bread. The body does not always distinguish between them in the way people expect. I remember a 60-year-old man who was very disciplined. He cut out white rice entirely, ate 2 slices of whole wheat toast every morning, and drank low-fat milk. He thought he was protecting his health. Yet every time he checked his blood sugar after breakfast, the meter read around 190 milligrams per deciliter. When he replaced bread with rolled oats, his post-meal number dropped to 140 milligrams per deciliter. The difference was immediate and dramatic. The safer path is to limit bread altogether. Slow-digesting carbohydrates such as steel-cut oats, brown rice, and boiled sweet potatoes provide steady energy, improve satiety, and keep blood sugar more stable. 3. Dried fruits. Concentrated sweetness in a small package. Raisins, dried bananas, and dried mango slices are often advertised as convenient, healthy snacks. They seem natural and nutrient-dense, but the drying process removes water and concentrates sugar. As a result, a small handful delivers the sugar load of several pieces of fresh fruit. To illustrate, 100 grams of fresh grapes has about 16 grams of sugar. The same weight of raisins has over 60 grams. That is nearly 4 times the amount, all packed into a much smaller volume. The American Diabetes Association reported in 2020 that frequent consumption of dried fruits was linked to a greater risk of glucose spikes and long-term complications such as retinopathy, kidney disease, and nerve damage. One patient once told me with pride that she had given up candy and pastries. Instead, she carried a bag of raisins and dried banana chips in her purse. She thought it was a better choice. But every time she tested her blood sugar after eating them, the numbers shot past 200 milligrams per deciliter. Only after switching to fresh apples paired with a small handful of almonds did her post-meal readings return to a safe range. The better habit is to eat fresh fruit in modest portions, ideally choosing lower sugar types. And for snacking, nuts such as walnuts, almonds, and pumpkin seeds are excellent. They contain healthy fats and protein, reduce hunger, and have minimal effect on blood glucose. 4. Low-fat yogurt. Less fat, but more sugar. Low-fat yogurt has been marketed for decades as a diet-friendly, heart-healthy option. People often believe it is better than full-fat yogurt. But what most do not realize is that manufacturers often add sugar to replace the taste and texture lost when fat is removed. A typical 150-gram serving of low-fat yogurt can contain 18 to 20 grams of sugar. That is nearly the same as drinking a small can of soda. Harvard University published research in 2019 showing that people who regularly consumed low-fat dairy products with added sugar had a 22% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. One patient I worked with ate a cup of low-fat yogurt after dinner every evening. She thought it was a healthy ritual, yet her blood sugar remained erratic, and her HbA1c never improved. When she switched to plain Greek yogurt with a few slices of kiwi, the difference was clear. Her HbA1c dropped within a few months, and her energy levels improved. For diabetes management, plain unsweetened Greek yogurt is the wiser choice. It is higher in protein, lower in sugar, and can be enhanced naturally with small amounts of fresh fruit or nuts. 5. Honey. Natural, but still sugar. Honey has a golden glow and a reputation for being wholesome and natural. It has been used for centuries as a sweetener and even as a medicine. Many people with diabetes believe it is safer than refined sugar. Unfortunately, this belief is misleading. Honey is made up of 70 to 80% sugar, mainly fructose and glucose. Its glycemic index ranges from 58 to 85, depending on the variety. That is high enough to cause significant increases in blood sugar. A study conducted in India in 2017 found that diabetic patients who consumed honey regularly had higher HbA1c levels than those who avoided it altogether. One man I met replaced white sugar with honey in his tea. He was confident that this was a healthier alternative, but his blood sugar readings told a different story. His HbA1c rose, his energy levels declined, and he had to increase his medication. Only after giving up honey did his blood sugar stabilize again. For anyone managing diabetes, honey should not be seen as safe. Natural low-calorie sweeteners such as stevia or monk fruit extract are better choices because they provide sweetness without the same impact on blood sugar. Conclusion: the lesson here is simple but powerful. Labels like natural, whole grain, or low fat do not guarantee safety for people with diabetes. What truly matters is the effect that food has on blood glucose. The 5 foods we explored: fruit juice, whole wheat bread, dried fruits, low-fat yogurt, and honey, are not inherently evil, but they can be harmful for people living with diabetes if consumed without awareness. They can cause blood sugar spikes, contribute to insulin resistance, and over time, increase the risk of serious complications. By avoiding these traps and replacing them with better options: whole fruits instead of juice, oats instead of bread, nuts instead of dried fruit, plain yogurt instead of sweetened versions, and safe natural sweeteners instead of honey, people with diabetes can regain control. They can stabilize their blood sugar, lower their HbA1c, reduce the burden on their organs, and enjoy steady energy throughout the day. Diabetes does not have to mean giving up all pleasure in food. It means making smarter choices, understanding how different foods affect the body, and building habits that protect long-term health. With the right knowledge and discipline, it is possible not only to manage diabetes, but also to live fully and vibrantly. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to share it with someone you care about. And remember to subscribe so you won't miss the next important health lesson. Together, we can build a healthier and happier life with diabetes under control. See you in the next video.